Hello, everyone. I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. Last episode, we made our way to the town over here, the Gilded Vale, where it seems there are some issues going on at the moment. Apparently there's a problem where children are being born without souls. And, yeah. Superstition and fear has led to some things not going well at the moment. So, let's move on and start speaking to people. Urgiot wears a twisted frown. I'm afraid I still can't help you find residence here. Lord Raedric's son was deemed a hollowborn. This means that makes circumstances even more fraught than before. Tell me about Lord Raedric. He comes from a line of nobles who have defended these lands since Aedir times. Raedric II was an early supporter of Dyrwooden independence during the Revolution, and the current lord's father perished in the Saints' War. Hollowborn began appearing in the Dyrwood shortly after the war's end. Lord Raedric has taken it upon himself to purge the curse from Gilded Vale. His measures have been severe, but necessary. Unfortunately, it may not have been enough if the bells were any indication. The Saints' War? Our age's most egregious example of man's madness. 15 years ago, the people of Rhiad Ceres decided that Waidwen, their living saint, was the literal incarnation of the god Aothus. This supposed saint took it upon himself to liberate the Dyrwood, supposedly from allegiances to less worthy gods, but I've never known an army to conquer a land for its people's own good. The war lasted about a year, but you can guess what that year did to the worship of Aothus in the Dyrwood. Lord Raedric's forebears had all been Aothasians, but after his father fell defending us from those fanatics, he personally saw that the temple of Aothus here in town was shut down. He points at a few ruined walls near the tree. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's important that everyone in Gilded Vale understand our rules. I'd like to know more about Gilded Vale. We're a frontier village, as are most settlements in the Dyrwood. Gilded Vale hasn't grown much since its establishment in the colonial days, and the last 15 years have seen our population shrink further. He takes in the ramshackle houses and half-fallen fences. Hence our recruitment of fresh settlers. Why has Gilded Vale's population been shrinking, aside from all the hangings? Waidwen's legacy, of course. Many women have had difficulty bearing healthy children of late. A few years ago, Lord Raedric decreed that no mothers of Hollowborn are to be allowed in Gilded Vale. His mouth tightens into a firm line. His lordship dealt swiftly with the objectors. It may be harsh, but if it purges us of this curse, is it not worth it? It depends on if it does purge it of the curse. If it doesn't. Tell me about those ruins behind the tree. That's what's left of the Temple of Aothus. His lips pucker. Lord Raedric forbade worship of the dead god after the Saints' War. It's been abandoned for almost 15 years, but there are plans to rededicate it to Bereth, the god of life and death. Enough about Gilded Vale. Goodbye. Alright. And there's someone here, too. Ooh. Scattered between the roots are bracelets of twine and bead, wilting flowers and notes half erased by the rains.
Were you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Strange way to talk about your dead. He looks up at the tree and breathes out. Half the town's up there now, seems like. No right way to talk about it. I'm looking for someone who can help me feel better. He gives an understanding nod as he takes a long drag from his pipe. My condolences. He exhales and turns his attention away, watching the village around him. Alright then. Well, it was suggested I head towards the inn. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
The others, 2 folk men and an elven woman, don't look convinced. What's going on? One of the other men points at the hooded elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. Mocking us even while he shelters in our village. Just goes to show you what these fancy Adir manners are worth. We don't take to that kind of treatment. Not from foreigners, and especially not from Adirans. The woman looks you up and down. And that means you too. Don't push us. Right, I'm a deer. That's not good.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Fie, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
That's odd.
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
A collective cry of outrage rises from the 3 locals. The second man snarls.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
Horror and shock paint themselves across the elven man's face in broad, hasty strokes. And then after that first bit, he plants his feet, something surly and raw flickers through his eyes.
That's where you're wrong.
This is unnecessary. Wouldn't you rather be inside drinking than out here arguing? We don't take orders from any blazing adherents. We don't take charity neither. They squint at you through red, bleary eyes. It sounds suspiciously like you're defending him. Oh, crap. Well, this is, not good. And I just made one of them explode, the second one died, and there goes the third one. Well, that's not pleasant. As the last of the attackers falls, the elf turns to you, the tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
Well, I'm glad I could help. He gives you a quick smile. Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts, as is the company of a fellow countrywoman. He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath it is sturdy and fine.
Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvisor, at your service.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I'm grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did you come to be here?
Much shorter words, but I was traveling with a caravan, but we were separated near some ruins.
In Gwithan ruins? Well, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. In half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Several hooded figures operating a strange machine. Aloth goggles at you silently, apparently assessing your earnestness. Finally, he gives you a clipped, awkward laugh.
You do manage to find yourself in rather interesting predicaments.
What are you doing in Gilded Vale?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
A little bit, although I have a feeling you weren't there when the bells rang. And you? Like you said, I'm also a settler.
Indeed. In that case, welcome to Gilded Vale, a true refuge from civilization.
Just how did you manage to cross those 3 drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one man to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I heard the same thing. For a moment, he looks as if he's about to say something else. His expression brightens with mischief, but before he can speak, he forces a tight smile, biting his lips so hard you expect to see blood. Finally, his face relaxes and he shakes his head. I should speak more clearly next time. My apologies. You don't exactly look like a settler.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
Alright, well, I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go then.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
Alright, and now we have a new companion. And a whole load of things. Put that all in there. Alright, let's see you here. You are Aloth. You have Aloth's leather armor, which is unique. And you also have... Okay, wizards have the ability to learn a staggering number of spells, but they are always limited by the capacity of their grimoires. At any given time, a grimoire may only contain 4 spells of each level. Click on a spell in the right panel to remove it from the grimoire. Add spells to empty slots by clicking on the spell in the left panel. So, he's currently got Minoletta's Minor Missiles, Archimir's Dazzling Lights, Kalikoth's Sunless Grasp, and Fan of Flames. Let's see, the missiles summons 3 missiles that batter the target, inflicting crush or crow damage. So, Magic Missile. Overwhelms anyone with an effect of brilliant and bewildering pyrotechnic display. Flare. Hands become so cold as to freeze with a touch. Cold touch, basically. And Cone of Fire, basically. He also has Wizard's Double. Creates a duplicate of the caster to distract enemies, granting the caster a high deflection bonus until he or she is hit or crit. Okay. So it's basically, nobody will be able to hurt me until they actually hurt me. Interesting idea. He's also got a scepter and a rapier, if need be. Okay, let's see what his character is. Looks like, okay, high intelligence, bit of lore, tiny bit of mechanics, because he's a wizard. Not much else. Distant advantage. Okay. Interesting stuff there. Blast, that seems useful. Okay. Right then. So, this right here is the Black Hound Inn. I suppose we should actually just take a look inside and rest before we actually do it. The Black Hound Inn. The windows are clouded with a haze of accumulated smoke and cooking grease. Just gonna select that for a moment, and... Okay. Let me throw down a save before we go in here, just in case something happens. Alright, let's head in, see what's going on inside of the inn. Within the inn. Alright. The floorboards are sticky with spills that no one has bothered to clean. Some kind of brown slop is congealing in these dishes. It smells burnt.
Good day to you.
Hello, and welcome to the... Oh, it's you. Tenfrith told us what you did for him. Oh, it's such a relief to have him back. I can't thank you enough. Consider yourself a favorite of the house. Discounts on drinks, rooms... Tenfrith said he wanted to whip up something nice for you. He's already back to work in the kitchen. So what would you like? Let's see. I could use some reliable help. Do you know of anyone looking for work? Oh, well, I wouldn't say I can speak from experience, but we do have certain sorts coming by looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone on, I'd be happy to send them your way.
Let's see what I have to work with. Okay, so... When we're dealing with inns, we can recruit an adventurer, which costs more coin than I have.
We've got a store. We've got bedrooms. Inns allow characters to rest without using camping supplies. Cheap rooms are usually available, but if you have copper to spend, you may consider the more expensive options. The bonuses they provide last for a long time and affect the entire party. Interesting. We can retrain our character if we wish, and party management. You can see from the party management screen, you can see what your allies are up to when they aren't in the party. If you assign them to adventures, you can see how long it will take them to complete their assignment. Recalling a companion or adventurer from a mission before it's completed will forfeit all potential rewards. Noted. And we have this area here where we have things we want to sell. Is there anything we want to buy? Not really. But I do have a lot of things I want to sell. Here's all of those. Here's all of those. Can sell those because they don't matter. That I can keep. I guess I can hold on to those for now. And actually, I don't think the bear hide is used for anything, or the wolf hides. So sell all of those, and we're getting another 670 coin. Nice. Oh, we leveled up. Task completed late for dinner. Sure, let's do a level up. Let's see, skills. I would like to get some mechanics on you so that you'll be able to deal with traps and the like. I feel like athletics would also be good. I don't really need stealth. I guess mechanics, lore, and survival can improve a little bit. Let's see, we've got some abilities. So we've got Defender. Fighter adopts a more conservative combat strategy, concentrating on locking down enemies that stray too close. Fighter increases his or her number of engagement targets to 3, but at the expense of deflection. For this, steadies the fighter's aim, causing a percentage of their grazes to become hits, and increasing the minimum damage. That's nice. Discipline Barrage. Takes a moment, but we get more accuracy. And Guardian Stance. Lowers accuracy, but increases deflection of nearby allies. I'm going to go with Confident Aim because there's no penalties for that. And then we have Aloth here. You've got a lot of lore. Seems like it's worth it to improve that. And at least 1 point in stealth. In survival. And I guess a point in mechanics can help. Okay. And spells. So we can give him a couple level 2 spells. Or level 1. I think we're fine with the level 1s. He's got a couple. Let's see. What do we want? Let's see. That protects. An enemy bursts into flames. That's actually probably good. Let's see. That one will heal. That's probably good. Blinds a target. Paralyzed. Deflected with boiling pustules. Ugh. Let's see. Infuses a caster with vitality, giving them a temporary increase to maximum endurance and health. Interesting. Let's see. Better chance of getting a crit. Let's see. Lowers mental things. Duplicates of the caster distract enemies. That sounds interesting. Very good for defense. Lands pure necrotic energy, causing corrode damage. Okay. Scorching ray of flame. So burns them and anyone in the way. And a rebounding ball of fire, inflicting burn damage on anyone in its path. That sounds fun. Tricky to deal with, but fun.
I feel like mirrored image would be a good thing to have in a critical case, and that would help heal him. So we'll go with those two. And I should probably... Okay, they're already added. Good. Good, good, good.
Hail and well met.
Hello again. Come to rest your feet for a while. I'd like a room, please. Not yet.
Gods keep you.
Hire some help. Just to uncover those
Gods
things.
keep you.
Can I see what you have for sale?
Good day,
And finally,
stranger.
I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here, too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. Tenfrith's the big draw. I'm sure we'll get the big crowds back again in no time. I used to work the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him, even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound? Still sitting upstairs, pining after him. Poor old girl. Place ended up in my hands somehow. My very own inn. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. Please, sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by way of a good meal today. Unless you're fond of cold porridge.
Well, let's look around before we do anything. Ah, there's Tenfrith, the guy we rescued.
Ah, it's you, my savior.
He makes a sweeping gesture to indicate the kitchen around you.
It's so good to be back. Do not think I'll let this go unrewarded. I've decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets. My dearest recipe. After this, you'll eat nothing else. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels.
Savory pie. Okay. I think that's under crafting? Yes. So now we know a savory pie recipe. Extra max endurance, might, and perception. Okay, we can craft things, but I don't want to right now. Oh wait, stealing. I don't want to steal things. Spoons hang by the fire, covered in brownish gunk. Bunch of villagers, a server. Nobody says no there. Or over here. And Scroll of Fan of Flames, Development of a Crucible Knight. I'm not gonna bother reading all of these books. I don't think they're particularly important. And I don't think they're actually worth anything either. Ah, so this game happened to be in Kickstarter, and I think one of the benefits was that you could get information about yourself, or like a character story or something into the game, or something like that. And everyone who has these golden names under them, that's basically what they are. So I'm going to be skipping them. They're named, but they're not important. They're just special things. Alright, let's take a look at the rooms upstairs.
Ollie says... Oline says Raedric's paying good wages for new hands.
Good for them. Roaches scatter and flee under the crates.
Probably less chance of him stringing us up if we're on the payroll.
You want to get your tits lopped off defending some Lord's Keep, you go right on ahead.
Grab a drink, friend. Not much else of worth in this town. Says the woman from Thane.
Hey, we said we wouldn't mention Thane.
Okay, fair enough. No. We'd be stealing. Not from here, though. 10 years of dawn, okay?
Please leave me be. I am full to sickness with what I have seen of this place and its people.
Okay, 3 gold names. I can use 1 lockpick on this one.
There! Done!
We've got a rapier, padded armor, and a duelist's hat. Crammed behind the books is a drawing that shows Aethys and Lord Raedric in a compromising position. Hey, more lockpicks. Good. Used up 1, got 3. That is nice. These bones are covered in tiny bite marks. This hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Pet the dog. The dog's tail thumps happily against the floorboards. Sorry, girl, I don't think he's coming back. The dog whines softly again, head tilting. Well, you can come with me. Maybe we'll find him on the way. The dog's ears perk up. It trots over to you and barks happily. Black Hound added to inventory. This small dog has a glossy black coat and an affable disposition. She trots along at your heels, gazing up devotedly whenever you come to a stop. Little different from the giant miniature space piglet, but, I mean, it fits the theme a bit more, so... What the hell, we'll have the dog follow us around for a bit instead. I think this basically just led right outside again. It did! Oh, that's interesting. Did you hear the bells? Bad news, I think. Then I told her that's not the pistol. Ha! Oh, is that all? Okay, ignore that. Let's go ahead and take a rest. We may as well.
How do you do?
I'd like a room, please. Let's go ahead and take a rest. 2 resolve. Sure, that probably helps out a lot. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher! You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Oh boy, that's a little worrying.
Yes?
You know, I can actually talk to you, can't I? Let's do so. Aloth, we'll do this and then we'll end the episode. Aloth looks at you with quiet attentiveness. How may I be of service? Tell me about Adir. He looks at you in surprise. Forgotten your homeland already? No mind. Matters here have certainly kept you occupied. I've been gone for more than a year now, but I suspect I'll always think of the forests and fields of Adir as home. We've thousands of years of history and tradition behind us, and there's a sense of dignity and responsibility that comes with that. Of course, there's baggage as well. Our imperial past is still fresh in the minds of many, as you may have noticed here. Has it been difficult to adjust to the Deerwood? The people here are informal, hot-blooded. His mouth twists into a wry smirk. More attentive to insult than to duty, but as long as one avoids provocation, it's easy enough to get along. I've gotten accustomed enough to keeping my thoughts to myself anyway. How long were you in Gilded Vale? He shrugs, fidgeting with the hem of his sleeve. Not much more than you. As you saw, it was hardly the haven that had been advertised. Any thoughts on what I should do next? Well, you're in charge here, and as far as I'm concerned, any place is better than Gilded Vale. Alright then.
Sure.
Well, I am going to go ahead and end this episode here, because it's gone on about long enough. Next episode, we'll head out and take a look at that tree, and then maybe take a look around Gilded Vale itself and see what we can find. I still need to find somewhere to replace this mace with an actual sword, because I'm so slow with it. Anyway, that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I am Chester44, also known as Phalai. That is, Laniara and Aloth. This has been a Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity, and I shall see you all next time.